squirrel? Nope, I got a woodpecker. I gotta check out that woodpecker. Where'd he go? There he is. Am I gonna get him? Is he up there? Let's see if I can get him, guys. Well, good morning from the Swisher Family Farm. Guess what today is? Chore day. We got some stuff we're gonna get down, and I just want to talk to you about safety on the homestead. Man, let me tell you, there's a lot of things out here that you got to be careful of that you don't think about when you first come out here. And one is trees. Let's talk about trees right now. I got my cup of coffee. We'll go through real quick and then we'll start working. Now, sorry about that, guys. So let's talk about the problem with trees are. All right, trees are beautiful. They produce oxygen. The animal life loves it. The birds love it. I love them. But some of these trees have to go. Now, I'm going to go through the reason why I'm getting rid of these trees. One is they're a danger to the homestead. I see a lot of videos on YouTube and some other places where people drop their homesteads right in the middle of trees, which is fine. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. I'm not knocking you. But I'm talking about safety. Here in Tennessee, we get a nice storm. Those pine trees you see back there will snap like toothpicks. So we need to get rid of them. Also, you need to walk around your homestead and look for any damaged trees. In a sense, damage means we got a pine beetle here that ate up one of those trees. Well, actually, we got 2-3 trees now that have gotten ate up. And I want to dispose of those, get them burnt, and get rid of them. Now, all the other trees that I cut down, I have a buddy of mine who has a mulcher. He comes in and mulches all the trees down, and we reuse and reconstitute that in our beds. We use it in our garden. We use it in our compost pile. These are all the things that we use it for. So none of it goes to waste. None of it is insignificant. It all means something to the homestead. Nature has a big play in the homestead. I wanted to get into a little bit of that. All right, so pine trees bring bugs. Bugs bring birds. Birds bring bigger prey and bigger prey. It's a circle of life situation. But some of that stuff really helps out your garden. And you may not know this, but we have a lot of different types of moths, and I've been doing some research. And a lot of those moths, if you don't kill them, you just let them go, they will eventually burrow in some of the wood, like the wood that we got stacked over here, firewood. They won't be detrimental to you, they won't hurt you, but they will actually fly over to your garden and they will eat the pests in your garden. Literally eat the pests in your garden, which is phenomenal. That's a win-win situation right there. If they can deplete the pest, like one of them that eats your tomato plants, if you know what I'm talking about, put a link down below, or not a link, but put a reply down below and tell me what it is. It will save your tomato plants. Use Mother Nature for your garden. Don't use chemicals and pesticides. I didn't use any chemicals or pesticides last year. We did some natural remedy stuff to test it out. It did work, but it was very time consuming. But all I have is time. I'm retired. Eventually Miss Amy will be retired too. But so I wanted to talk about that in an aspect of, don't think that I'm against trees. I love trees. Trees are beautiful. I like even during the fall when all the leaves have fell off. I mean, you see the way they've had to grow. But listen, something on your homestead you need to know. You need to thin out your trees. You need to cut down all the little ones. Or if you cut down a little one, that's fine. If you cut down a big one, let the little one grow. Replace what you take down, in a sense. Now, pine trees, we are going to replace them. We're going to replace them with different pines. We actually want to start somewhat of a Christmas tree farm for ourselves, not for resale, not to sell to anybody else, but for us, our friends and family members here on the homestead. So my idea is I'm going to plant a bunch of Christmas trees. I can get them through the state of Tennessee. You can check that out if you want to go to Tennessee. Or go to Tennessee.gov, I think it is, or Tennessee.com, and you can go there and you can find Christmas trees, and they're next to nothing to buy. They're about $1 something a piece. They'll send them to you, or you can go pick them up. You plant them, plus of planting them, more life on the homestead. We want to kind of enclose our whole outer banks of our homestead with Christmas trees. We'll keep up, we'll take care of them like Christmas trees, but they will fill in and they will bring wildlife, and they will change the constant of the soil. The pluses to them are a lot better than the things that we got here, because that stuff that we got here is what they use for chipping. So none of this stuff is a yellow pine that's worth something, otherwise I would use it for lumber. This stuff is basically, from the forestry guy I had in here, this stuff is not worth anything. And he says, I hate to say that because you have a lot of pine trees, but it ain't worth anything. But let me tell you this, you know, you look out on my property and you see all these pines. Well, me and Amy did a walk, and if you watch that video, that was walking the land video, where we went down and we looked at our land and we wanted to see where the stream was, the natural spring. We did find a natural spring. I'm so happy. It is dead on our property. We got a nice thing. We got 2 waterfalls. It's glorious to me. I'm so happy about it. But we were able to figure out what we were able to do with our homestead, not to make money, but to make it self-sufficient for us, and what we can change to make it better for us and better for the animals around us. One is thinning out. It's good to thin out. You ever get a forest fire, something happens like that, you need to have the area thinned out. You don't want it to catch and just be a complete overtaking of fire. It's happened here. It's happened up in the Smokies. It happened in Gatlinburg. I mean, those are areas that needed to be thinned out that weren't actually thinned out. They were pretty overgrown, and then it spread, and then it got to the towns, and then, but that's a whole nother story. Right now, my whole deal is keep my homestead safe, clean it up, clear it out. It's winter. It's the best time to cut trees. And I had a guy I talked to, and he told me how, if I need to cut down a pine tree, any pine during the summertime, if you take a small little bit of kerosene and you add it to your chainsaw oil, it stops the sap from gumming up your blade. So if you didn't know that, I learned that. That's a pretty cool little nifty little tidbit I got off of there. At that point, I'm gonna get to work. I got a lot of trees I gotta take down before we get any kind of bad weather come in here. I'm done doing most of the building projects for just right now. We got a big one coming up. That'll be the garden. You guys are gonna get to see us do that. You guys are gonna get to see us use the wood mill down at Wes's house. You're also gonna get to see us do a lot of drastic changes to the homestead that's only gonna make it better and feasible for us. I wanna do a real quick shout out. Hi, Mom. And let's get to work. See you in a few. All right, guys, so as you can see, I cut down a couple of trees here. I am definitely not the lumberjack chainsaw type of guy. So at that point, I got some more trees to take down, and we're gonna video those. But I had to call for reinforcements because I just don't feel comfortable about these trees so close to the house. I took out the 3 that were back there that were gonna shade the garden too much. Those are gone. I'm gonna cut those up. We'll use them for firewood. But man, I have to tell you, I had to call for reinforcements. Wes is coming. He's gonna cut down the remainder of the trees around the house. Wes is a very qualified and experienced lumberjack. His family did it. He's grown up doing it his whole life. So to him, cutting the trees down is nothing. He came out here. We invited him over for Christmas and had Christmas dinner with them. And homesteading Christmas. Have it with your friends, those homesteaders around you. And he came out here with me, and he looked at the trees and said, well, we can turn this one this way and put this one this way. So he's got all the trees fallen. Now all he's gonna do is drop the trees. I'll cut them up, I'll disperse them, do what I have to do. I'm gonna burn a lot of this pine up. Now what I do is I take that pine, I take all that ash, I dig all that ash up, and I spread that ash all over my homestead, all over the ground of my homestead, so it soaks back in and puts a lot more back into the soil. And I also, once it's rained a couple of times, I'll shovel it, put it there, and mix it in my compost pile, make it even better for my compost. So, at this point, those are the trees I've gotten down now. Man, my adrenaline's pumping. I really am not a guy working with chainsaws and stuff. I mean, I can trim limbs and stuff like that, not a big deal. But with the way this corral of stuff is right here, I wish we would have done it before we built the pump house. But the pump house needed to be built. It was an emergency. So now we got to cut the trees around the pump house. But you guys are going to get to see that. So at that point, guys, I'm going to get back to work. I got to cut up all these trees. I'm going to get them stacked up over here. Let me slide over that way. I don't know if you can see it. I got a pile right there. I'm going to stack that up. And that's going to be my burn pile for these trees and all the other trees. I'll put them all in that one area. Now the plus about that burn pile is it's over top of some crush and run that we had dumped there previously. So now burning the trees on top of that, we don't have to worry about a lot of scatter, a lot of spread of the fire. Another good thing is too is whenever you're topping trees and you're doing stuff like that, if you're going to burn, put all that stuff at the bottom because it tends to float up. So if you pack it in real good, put all that at the bottom, you won't have the floating ambers that you would normally have. And that's a big thing because a floating amber can start a hell of a fire. So at that point, guys, I'm gonna get back to work. I'll be with you in a little while. So the bad thing is that I bought these gloves about 4 months ago. That's what they look like now. I think it's time for a new pair of gloves. Alright guys, so this is day 2 of the cleanup after the cut down yesterday of all the trees. Pretty close to being done. Alright, so you're probably all wondering, well, I have this cedar right here. That's what's going to make our beds for our garden. So we figure I probably can get 3 4x4s out of this and probably about 24 planks, wood planks, cedar planks to do the boxes for the garden. So nothing on my project or on my land goes to waste. The pine that I have here, we have another area that I've cleared, and we use that for people who come camp and want to burn. So we'll let it sit there, it'll dry, it'll season, and they can burn the pine and get rid of it. And we'll build a fire pit over there. It's basically gonna be a place, because we got a lot of our friends who like to camp, and that kind of secludes them away from everything and everybody. So they kind of get some privacy too. So that's kind of our idea right now with that. Whew, talk about some work, man. This is some work. And that cedar is going to be a chore. But I have to get it down to Wes so Wes can do his thing. So I'm gonna get cutting on this pine. I got 2 more pieces to do and then I'll be done. And I can't wait to get done, let me tell you. And now I'll start doing the cedar. Now this is gonna be our burn pile, and we'll do that. Now, I like to do my burn piles the day of or the day before the rain comes. So depending on wind is a major factor. Right now there's no wind. I probably should be burning today, and I just might. Had the military flying over. They're flying and doing their maneuvers, and they only do that if it's going to be a calm day, because they really can't do it when it's windy. So today might actually be a perfect day to start burning. I think I might. You might get to see it today. Well, let's get back to work. All right. Alright, so you got to see us cutting the trees down. You got to see the millwork being done. Now let's see what we had gotten from our cedar tree that we had milled up at Wes's house. So it snowed, of course. As you can see, there's snow everywhere. These are our totes. Everything is not as winterized as I'd like it to be, but it will do. But we did get some really good wood from that cedar tree, and we got a couple other cedar trees that are already down that we're going to take down to Wes's and do also. But this is a start for our garden. So, one, cedar. Bugs don't like cedar, so build the beds out of cedar. That way you don't have to worry. So, but with what we got, I am so happy with. And this is just the start. I mean, the start of it. So out of that one tree that we cut down, I cannot tell you how surprised I am about how much wood that we actually got from it. I probably got enough in there to build 3 8-foot by 4-foot beds, and probably enough to do maybe like a 4x4 for corners. So let me show you what we got. Alright guys, there's the lumber that we got. Now that was out of one tree. We got a 4x4 there. I got some thicker cuts like the one right next to the 4x4 right there. We're going to cut those into 2x1s. And we'll have those as kind of like stakes to hold the sides up. But all of that we got. It doesn't seem like a lot, but there is a lot there, believe it or not. It's all stacked up. But we got all that from one cedar tree. Look at that. Is that not awesome or what? Look at the graining in it. I mean, gosh. Wow. So at that point, guys, you got to see what cedar we got out of just one tree only. We got another big one over there. I'm going to have to figure out a way to get it up, get it down to Wes's, get that on the sawmill. We got another big one that we're going to cut down. we're actually gonna be widening this road out here to 2 lanes, and we're gonna have to take that tree out anyway, along with some other trees. So we're gonna go ahead and take that tree down so we can use it for the garden, and we'll have ourselves our beds. So when you don't have money on the homestead and you can't afford to do a lot, Mother Nature gave you all these trees. Use only what you need. Don't ever waste. And none of this cedar that I bought is gonna go to waste. I got some ideas with it. I can't wait to start working with it. But we're gonna leave it here until probably March, middle of March, and then we'll start working with it. It's all rough cut cedar, so you know, it's a matter of putting it together and getting it to work. We are going to take this and I'm going to run this through a table saw and clean the edges up to make sure the edges are nice and tight when we put the garden beds together. But I got all this from a cedar tree. I can't believe it. I'm so happy with myself because I didn't go out and pay. That 4x4 I got right there would probably end up costing you about, I don't know, $70, $80. It was free right off my land from my tree, from a cedar tree. Now some of you aren't as lucky as we are to have the cedar trees that we have on our property, but you know what? You can use oak too. I mean, oak's there. If it's growing and it's good, it's free. You use red oak, white oak, just about pretty much. Popple if you want to use that. I wouldn't use that, but that's up to you. But so I'm gonna get this stuff covered real quick. Oh yeah, by the way, this is up off the ground, probably I'd say about 6 to 8 inches. And it's also laying on a piece of plywood, old plywood that I had. And on top of that, I've separated it so the air can get through and kind of dry some of it out. Because cedar can be a very, very wet wood, especially here. As you can see, I still got snows, and Hey-Hey's clucking away as usual. He's always got to be on camera all the time. He's got to be heard. We hear you, Hey-Hey. That's enough. See how quiet he gets? He knows who Big Papa is, right here. So at that point, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to go inside, kind of warm up because I'm real chilly right now. It's been snowing here in Tennessee for, what, about 3 days now. The first snowfall, I swear to you, the flakes were the size of a $50. I wish I could have gotten it on video. You would have been amazed. But if some of you have seen flakes that big, put it in the comments down below. I'd really like to hear that. I'd like to see what you got to say about that. But at that point, guys, I'm out of here. Don't forget, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and welcome to the fam. Swisher Homestead here, thumbs up. God bless. We'll see you guys later.